they have an unusually high number of black metal bands coming from Iran. Or at least they used to. Yeah, that's way more than you'd think.
That's a very obscure fact that no one knew about.
All right, welcome everybody. Welcome back to the Worldwide Travel Podcast. It's a podcast that we talk about from people all over the world about their travels to all over the world. And it's very simple as that. My name is Dave Canyon, and I am broadcasting to you from New York in the United States. Alongside of me are two of our team, our co-hosts today. We'll do ladies first. Alexandra from Romania. Hello, Alexandra. How are you today?
Hi, everyone. Good. How are you, Dave?
I'm doing great. All right. And then we also have Luke here. Luke is the founder of this show, the creator, and he is calling in. He's hosting with us from Milton Keynes, Keyes. I love saying it, from the UK. Good evening to both of you. Good evening, Luke. How are you?
Good evening. Yeah. Back. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's so we're just gonna have some fun here today. One of the things that Luke always likes to talk about on the show is dispelling myths. We'll in our conversation we'll talk about a myth, about something that we know about or we've heard about or whatever. It might not come up at all. It might not. I just recently took a 2,000-mile road trip to Gainesville, Florida, here on the East Coast of the United States. We could talk about that. And, Alexandra and Luke and myself, we are part of a team. There's three of us. Elsa's not here. She'll be here hopefully the next show, and we'll have a guest. But anyway, this is what it is, and we're here to have some fun. Anybody want to start off?
Yeah, well, I mean, you mentioned your trip to Florida. We can start off with that. What was that like? We saw some clips.
Yeah.
But we're not that. Or at least I don't know about Luke, but personally, I'm not that into drag racing or car racing in general. So what was that like?
Right. Well, first of all, let me just share with you this mug that I got. It's not a sponsor, but this is called Buc-ee's. And one of the things that you experience traveling the United States is that I think the word is gluttonous. Like, we love excess. We can't just have a simple, I don't know what you call it in your side of the world. We call it a gas station. You might call it a petrol station or something like that. But so we can't just have a gas station with a couple of pumps and a convenience store where you get coffee and snacks to go. We have to have the biggest, most obnoxious gas station ever created. And this is that, Buc-ee's. I'm sorry I don't have any pictures to show you. One day I will share it with you. I'm guessing this one that I went to had like maybe 100 pumps. 100. This is like, I don't know if you even have big box stores like we do. Like, we have super Walmart. We don't just have Walmart. We have super Walmart. Everything we do is the store and then the super size of the store. And it takes up acres and acres. So when you go to this place, Buc-ee's, you don't just get gas. It's kind of gas. There's fresh food. There's a grill. They're grilling fresh food. There's massive bathrooms with private stalls, and very private. And it's like a department store where you can buy barbecue pits. You can buy clothing, gifts, all different pastries and snacks. It's really super huge. And I'm not doing us any service by not sharing pictures with you. But I should have taken pictures. But I don't even know how I would get the whole thing on camera. That's the video I should have taken. I'll be back one day and I'll show you. But anyway, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just gonna say, like, I can see today it's your turn to talk about the American mentality and not in the most elogious terms.
Right.
I think, and again, like, now it's our turn, right, to defend the American people. And so I just wanted to say, like, you guys also have, big cars, and you travel by car a lot. So, like, there is no public transportation to go cross country, or like, not like we have here, from what I understand. So that's not really unusual, right? It's not a bad thing to have to have the big gas station with the supermarket and all that.
No. And I just want to correct you. We do have mass transit. We do have bus service. We have Greyhound bus. We have Trailways bus all across the country. We have Amtrak train all across this country. We do have that. It's just that Americans love privacy and we love
Right.
our cars. We do. We love our cars. We love our trucks. Oh, we love our trucks. Even if we don't need a truck, we buy a truck. We're not pulling anything. We don't farm. We don't deliver anything, but we love our trucks. We love the big trucks, 8-cylinder gas guzzler, diesels. We love them to be loud. We like them to make noise. Very, very obnoxious.
I
And this,
haven't.
well, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I haven't heard anyone mention that they actually took the bus to travel across
No,
country.
no, because it's not the most reliable. It's not the most comfortable. Although they've made a lot of improvements over the years. I used to drive a bus a long time ago. I used to be a bus driver, and one of the things I'll tell you is people who drive buses, who ride buses, for leisure or even commuting to work. Those people are people that either A, don't have a car, and then you have to think about why don't they have a car in
Right.
America? Like, what happened that you don't have a car? That's not really normal. And two, they might not have a license. So if you don't have a license, that speaks to other issues that a human being might have in America. So you might be too young, you might be too old, you might be recently just let out of prison. You might have forfeited your license. There's really almost no good reason why you won't have a license to drive in this country. Some people don't have a license honorably. In other words, they live in a big city. They never needed it. If you grew up in Manhattan, in New York City, or any of the 5 boroughs, New York, Queens, it doesn't matter. There's so much mass transit between buses and trains. You don't need a license. And if you don't drive, if you don't work too far away from home, then you take now it's Uber too. So back in the day it was train, bus, and taxi. Now it's Uber, and now of course scooters, razors, all these alternate means of transportation. So if you live in a big city, you might not need a license, but that's a very, very small American percentage of the population. I don't know what that number is. I'm guessing
Other,
it's 1%.
other than New York, where can you live comfortably and not have a driver's license?
That's a great question. Well, New York City, yeah. Maybe Los Angeles, maybe, but they do have a subway system, but it's not very extensive. A lot of stand-up comedians have made jokes about their bus and train system, like they kind of run randomly. There's no real schedule. I don't think that's true, but I mean, I wouldn't put Los Angeles in the top 5. Chicago, most likely Chicago, Boston for sure. And the metro Washington D.C. area, they have a subway system, and I think that subway system runs on rubber tires as well. I remember
Really?
being down there when it was new. Yeah, so it's a little bit quieter than New York. But I don't know anything about Florida. No, I think Florida you have to drive. I think the closer you live to your job, obviously, the easier it is. But we don't like doing that in America. We like living far away. We want to be as inconvenienced as possible because that's another thing we like to do. We want to complain about our commute. We want to enjoy the happiness and the pleasure of living far away from where we work, right? But we
But
also go ahead.
sorry, I was gonna, in your defense,
Yeah.
is it even possible? Like, is it even affordable to even consider living close to your job? I mean, I think that's a bit of a. I think that's the reason, right? Why people don't choose to live closer to your jobs. Not that they wouldn't want to, but I'm guessing, since you have a lot of I don't know, building business centers, stuff like that. Maybe more in like downtown areas of cities. So like, who can afford to live there?
Well, it's a good question. I'm not going to, say it's a bad question. It's a good question, but the answer to that sort of is, but people do live there. They just don't work there. People do. If you go to Manhattan, there will be office buildings all over from the bottom to the top, but there's also residential all over the place right next door. So you could, let's say there's Macy's department store. I don't know if you know about Macy's. So it's in Midtown on 34th Street, Manhattan. There are people that live around the corner. There's people that live everywhere, but this is the American way. We love to live far enough away where we can get away from work, but at the same time, we love to complain about the commute, how long and how hard it is, how expensive it is to get back to work. And it eats away at your profits. It eats away your hourly rate. But very few Americans really. I used to work 3 miles from my house. I could ride a bicycle to my job. It wasn't a great job, but I was very close. It was very interesting to just, by the time my car warmed up, I was already in the parking lot. So, in the cold weather days, it was like, oh,
Yeah.
I don't, I'm already at work. So I spent more time in the car waiting for it to get warm in the winter than I did in the car ride going home. But it was nice. It just wasn't a great job. So in the United States, you have a lot of options. And by the way, this Buc-ee's is right alongside a major interstate, which is I-95. It's very famous in the United States. I-95. It goes, I think, all the way up past into Maine, and it goes all the way down to the bottom of Florida, which is Key West. So and there'll be truck stops all over, and it's the same repetitive town over and over again.
Really? Okay.
Sure. It's not so much Buc-ee's, because Buc-ee's is new, but there'll be they call Pilot Truck Stop, Flying J, Travel, a TA or something. And then there's all these restaurants, all the fast food. That it's like every town is the same alongside the thruway. I mean, the highway. So imagine the I-95 goes straight north and south, and then all these exits, and they're all the same. So when I go to this place I went to, and I get off the exit ramp, I look around. I always say, I think I've been here before. I really do. I feel like I was here before last year, but no, I don't know. They're all the same, because they all have 20 gas stations, 20 fast food restaurants, McDonald's, Burger King, Taco Bell, and Chipotle, and it's just so repetitive. But it's a major thoroughfare, like Luke was talking about. He's annoyed that his people love to go to, what is it, Spain? Spain. Yeah. So for us, it's New York to Florida. New York to Florida is just incredibly repetitive.
Until you turn 70, and then you just go back to Florida and stay there, right? And then you don't come back to New York. Right?
That dream is to stay in Florida, move to Florida and stay in Florida. A lot of people do that, and then we have what we call snowbirds. Do you have snowbirds in your part of the world? No. So snowbirds is like, let's say, for instance, I live here in New York, and then or anywhere in the East Coast, the Northeast, and then the first day that it snows, probably November, like Thanksgiving-ish, around that time. As soon as I see in the forecast it's time to snow, we're out of here. We get on a plane, we go down to Florida, and we fly. We fly to Florida and with snowbirds. We stay in Florida until it's so freaking hot we can't take it, and then we come back to New York. So it's like we just go with the temperature. We don't really have a plan. Not everybody does that. It's kind of a joke. It's kind of true. A lot of people say, I can't stay in Florida all summer long. It's so hot. And my mother and father would tell me all the time, oh, no, you can't live here. You can't live here. And my wife and I, we wanted to move to Florida. And we said, why can't we live here? He goes, oh, no, it gets too hot. But it's hot in New York. No, this is different hot. This is a different hot. I said, how can it be any different? There's the earth, and there's the sun, and there's heat. No, it's really, really hot. No, nobody stays here. I said, no, they do stay here. Why are you guys talking crazy to me for? So we didn't move for other reasons, because we had 2 dogs, and they would have hated the heat. They needed a pool. They needed a river or a creek or something like that. But anyway, so it's a fun drive. I have beautiful weather, and you don't have to be. I tell you what, Alexandra, you don't have to be into auto racing. You don't have to be a fan of it. You don't have to be a fan of drag racing. But if you sat where I sat and you saw what I saw, I don't think there's any way that you could avoid being excited by it all. That's the
thing. At least once. Sports. Yeah, no. I totally get that. Like, for instance, I'm not necessarily into football. Like, I would never watch a game at home. But if I go to watch it live, my God, it's so into me. I start yelling at people. So.
Right. Well, Luke's a big time football fan. Luke, do you want me to say football or do you want me to say soccer?
Football all day long.
Football all day long. Okay. Wow, good answer.
You mentioned America likes to supersize everything.
Yes.
Milton Keynes is actually based on LA, the grid system in LA, how the roads work and stuff like that. And we have the biggest ASDA in the country. So maybe that's Americanized because it's based on an American city.
The biggest what?
The biggest, like Walmart, for example, ASDA.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. And what do you call it? What was that?
Asda. Asda.
How you spell that?
ASDA.
Asda. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's a super center, and you can
Yeah.
buy food and clothing and auto parts and everything, electronics, everything, drugs,
Yeah.
everything,
Yeah.
pharmaceuticals. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great. I'm
Well, I mean,
curious.
you can find if you really want to. I'm sure you can find.
Somewhere in the back, somebody's smoking a cigarette by the back door and make you a deal. But yeah, find me the square footage of that, Luke. Let's see how big it is compared to the American ones. That's
Yeah.
always the big story now, the square footage, how big it is. But yeah, it's Alexandra. It's kind of like what the event I went to, which is the NHRA, the National Hot Rod Association, is the longest, oldest drag racing sanctioning body in the United States. And it's basically how I describe it is they are launching rockets every 5 minutes. And they're so fast, and these people are so brave. They're going over 330 miles an hour. I don't know if you can really comprehend what that looks like. 330. And Alexandra, what I'm really proud about this particular end of the sport, more than Formula One, for sure, more than NASCAR, for sure, or any other auto sport, that many of the competitors are women.
The women, yeah.
And they win. They win, and if they don't win, they're competitive. And if they lose, they're not crybabies. These are brave. I'm very impressed with the women in the sport. It's not one of those sports where they go, oh, we got girls and they're no good. You know, we don't want them here. We're past that. We're so far past that. And there's also people of different races and nationalities. And one of the things we talk about here on Worldwide Travel Podcast is that we like when, it's kind of like an automatic diversity without saying diversity. It's just there. We've always had it. NASCAR has faked it. I'm just going to say that out loud. They have faked it for years. They have insinuated things for years. They have mechanically engineered diversity in their program, but the NHRA has not. And if you ever, I would love to, with you, Alexandra, like with a microphone, to go down and meet these women. I'm telling you, you've never met anyone like them. They're very strong. They're very brave. And I mean, I hope it's not sexist to say they are good looking. They are easy on the eyes. They're not like, yeah, what do I say? I mean, some American women softballers, I don't know if you know about football, or field hockey women. I'm only kidding. I don't know. That's not true at all. I think
there is a trope with that. I mean, it's not.
All right. So I'm kidding in one side of my mouth and the other side, but it's okay. Listen, who am I to talk? So every time I make a joke about somebody, who am I to talk? But yeah, so that's it. It was great weather. Florida, we got lucky. We had one day of rain, and it was really disappointing. But we made up for it. That was on Saturday. We made up for it on Sunday. And I hope one day I'm going to go back and I'll take more footage, better footage of not just the racing, but the surrounding area. Because I took a drive. I went down and back. I love going down. One of the things I like to do is drive aimlessly, totally aimlessly. I don't know where I'm going to end up. I don't know where I'm going to end up. Just make a left, make a right, make a left. And I actually had to go to some place Saturday night, and I did use my GPS, but it took me, I was on a paved road. I was on a regular paved road, private, like not private, like very one lane. You have these in England. I've seen them in the movies. One lane road, maybe a little bit of a dotted line. There's trees everywhere. There's farm everywhere. And then all of a sudden, I go across these railroad tracks, and then it's a dirt road. It's not even paved anymore. So now I'm really in Florida. This road is, I'm really in Florida now because this road has never been paved in 50, 60, 100 years. All the other roads are paved. This road is not paved. It's dirt. I got my Honda Fit, and I'm on a dirt road, and all these palm trees and other trees and farm, and I can't see a house. I don't know where I'm at. I'm trusting my GPS, but it's weird because very rarely in the United States anymore are you on a paved road, you go across railroad tracks, then you make a turn, and then boom, dirt road. And that dirt road lasted a while. It was kind of romantic in a way. It's kind of mysterious because I don't see anybody. I don't know what's around that corner. I don't know if there's going to be snakes or armadillos or I don't know what's happening. But I get excited by that. I know you guys love travel. We all love travel. That's one of my favorite modes of transportation is by car and by I don't know what's going to happen here. And I don't
Right.
know. The GPS is usually correct nowadays. Back in the day, you couldn't trust it. So anyway, I made it back. So I think I did over 2,000 miles. I should have been more, what I call anal retentive about the mileage, the miles per gallon and all that other stuff. But I was averaging like 40 some odd miles to the gallon on my Fit. And the gas was relatively inexpensive. And I had a good time. It was good. I look forward to doing it again.
How long did that drive take you, Dave?
Great question. According to GPS, it's a 16-hour trip. But according to my ability to, the strength of my bladder, it's more like a 20-hour trip. You do have to stop. You have to stop, and you have to go to the bathroom, and you have to, get coffee, whatever. Did I stop on the way down? I think I stopped. I stopped on the way back because last year I did not. So I think I went straight through this time. It took about 20 hours, a little bit less than 20 hours of straight driving. The trick, you guys might not be able to see the big picture here. The trick on this trip is that you have to leave as early as possible, early in the morning, to get south of Washington, D.C. Is Wilmington, Wilmington, Delaware, Philadelphia, Baltimore, you might have heard of, and then Washington, D.C. And then, like, if my nose is Washington, D.C., this is the Beltway. This is like 495. Everybody is coming and going to work. Everybody. And it's awful. It's awful. It's bumper to bumper, and there's construction, there's accidents, and you will sit there. I left my house, I think, at 3 in the morning. I wanted to leave at about 2, but whatever reason, I didn't get up. I think I didn't go to sleep as early as I wanted to. I forgot what happened. But anyway, I left about an hour later. By the time I got down to Gettysburg, which I think is Virginia, Gettysburg is a big American Civil War or something like that location. I'm really exposing myself to my stupidity, to my lack of history knowledge of American history. But Gettysburg is a big deal. And I sat in traffic for about 2 hours. And I didn't, if I 1 hour earlier, I know. 1 hour earlier, I might have breezed right through it. But we were sort of bumper. And you can see it on the Google Maps. There's like yellow lines, and then it gets red, and then it gets black red. I was in black red. There's no alternate road. You can't just get off and take the non-toll road, or there's only one way to travel through this area. And that was unfortunate. But the weather was nice. It wasn't raining. And it's just congestion. Again, Americans, they love their cars. They will not. I don't know where they all work. I don't know where they work. In D.C., in Richmond, in Virginia. I don't know where Alexandria. There's a place called Alexandria, Virginia.
I know.
So, yeah.
But
it was...
so sorry. You just told me, like, if someone decides to use public transportation, then they're regarded as the lowest of the low.
Right. Well,
I would use it if I knew that there's stigma attached to it like that. I would take my car.
No, I would always take public transportation. If it was convenient. I mean, you could park your car and then take the train. There's, they got parking lots at the train station and all that. So I don't know where I was, if they had anything that can get you into Washington, D.C. I don't know how many people actually work in Washington, D.C. But anyway, it was supposed to be a 16-hour trip. I got caught in traffic for 2 hours, and I might have pulled over to take a nap somewhere. I don't remember. I really got tired. At some point, I get so tired, I'm really like on fumes. I'm like on fumes. Like I can't. I'm just muscle memory. I just know the big road. I got to get on the big road, go south, and just keep on going. And there were a few times where I pulled off the main road. I went way off the main road to get even cheaper gas, to save 10 cents a gallon. And not to be cheap, but I am cheap, but not to be cheap. But it's also like a combination of, well, what do I got to lose? Let me go see a road I never saw before, a town I never saw before, and maybe even avoid some traffic. So, it took me about 20 hours, Luke. And if I had somebody with me, probably much less, and if I didn't get stuck in traffic, probably 18 hours. But it's 2 years in a row I did this trip, and it's about 20 hours. And on the way back, it took me 2 days because I totally pulled over. I totally slept. And I slept in a Wawa. It's called a Wawa.
What's that?
Oh, what?
Convenience store. It's like the Buc-ee's I just told you, but it's
Oh,
called Wawa. WAWA. Which, by the way, on this whole road is the only place you can get, which is the reason why I pulled in there. It's the only place you can get free air. You have to pay for air everywhere else, like $1.50. You know, you have to put coins in for your tires.
oh.
That's-
I was so confused for a second.
Right. I don't know how it works on your side of the world, but to get air in your tires, and
Yeah.
99% of the gas stations in this country, you have to pay for it. But Wawa, you don't have to pay. You know, it's just free air, which I needed some air in one of my tires. So I pulled in there and I got some sleep.
They
That's
say
a bit-
if you listen to rock music while driving, it makes you go faster. And on
Yes.
that note, I'm going to well, by the time this podcast goes out, I would have already been to the concert. But on Sunday, I'm going to Limp Bizkit as well.
Right.
And I know you
Right.
like music, Dave, as well.
Yes. Tell us about Limp Bizkit. Where are you traveling to? How far? Tell us about that. You'll take over from here. Tell us about Limp Bizkit.
We're on the train on Sunday around 2:00, going to London. So it's not too much of a trip. But we have no idea what time the concert's going to finish. So we don't know what time we'll be home.
Oh, will you be able to go back home from London after a concert?
Well, we need to because
Oh,
Nelly couldn't get his holiday
different,
approved.
you know.
So I'm off on Monday, but Nelly is working, so she couldn't get the holiday. So that's it. We're going home after the concert.
So you
That-
put in for a day off on Monday to
Yeah.
go to Limp Bizkit on Sunday. It's
Yeah.
off at 2:00, but they're not the opening band. They're not the only band. This would be other bands.
Yeah.
Okay.
But probably I've never heard of, so I'm not too bothered about them.
All right.
I'll tell you the truth, I didn't know that Limp Bizkit was still actively going. I used to listen to them when I was a teenager.
Right.
Some other stuff, but I don't know. Have they been doing anything lately? I mean, have they been releasing it? Yeah.
Look.
Okay. I need to,
Well, the
I don't
last
know.
video I saw, I put them on YouTube, and I think they were in Colombia or Argentina or somewhere like that. The last I heard.
oh,
Not
okay.
sure.
Is it all the original members of the band, or have some of them retired?
No idea. As long as Fred Durst there, I don't mind.
I think my son saw Limp Bizkit here in the United States a couple of weeks ago or months ago. I have to ask him about that. I wasn't prepared for that. I thought he saw them, but they were here. A lot of bands are still touring all over the world. They just don't create new music. They don't
Yeah.
have to. You know, when you have a library, I know that Limp Bizkit probably has quite a library now, and they have their dedicated fans. How big? What's the name of the arena that you're
OVO Arena, Wembley. It's only holding 12,000, so it's quite a small concert.
12,000 is ample. That's good
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
Is it sold out?
I'm guessing it would be at 12,000. I'm sure they can sell that many seats.
Where are you sitting? Can you describe to us?
I can't describe it yet until I've actually seen. We've seen the seat map, but I can't really.
You can't figure it out from like the
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
play.
yeah.
The
So
Well,
it's safe to say you're not front row, right?
No,
You're not front
no.
row. Are you in the last seat?
No, we're not.
Okay. Are you a level up?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So you think you'll be able to identify Fred when he comes on stage? Or
Well,
will
I
you
think-
be...
I think that
Can you get
12,000
Walker?
arena is not going to be massive, so
Okay.
I think even at the back it's going to be quite small.
All right. True story. I have once in my life sat front row center for a concert, right? Once I sat for Kiss at Madison Square Garden, same arena, Madison Square Garden. I once sat front row center. Doesn't matter who the band was. It wasn't anybody great. I just bought the tickets because the guy said, I have front row center. I just wanted to sit front row center. That's exactly why my friend and I bought these tickets. But we also sat in the next to last row, right up the middle. So we saw Kiss, you know, they're loud and they're bright and they got the fire and the hydraulics and all the craziness. So we sat right down the middle, all the way up top, like the next to last row. There was only one row behind us. And when we left, our ears were ringing, absolutely ringing. So, have you ever? Go ahead.
It's like I hate being front row because it's like everybody's just like pushing you, and I think that there was a point like my feet weren't even on the ground. It's like but I couldn't breathe. I was just like, there's no enjoyment in that. I had to leave. Like I was really getting freaked out because I felt like I couldn't move and I couldn't breathe. So I will never do that again. It's fine.
Wow.
I still enjoy the music from like further back.
Like that. Luke, will you be sitting or is it a standing situation? You think you'll be sitting?
I don't think you sit at a concert, do you?
It depends on the concert.
I don't think so. I don't think so. You don't sit at concerts.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I have.
I'm not a big concert goer really.
Oh.
Again, football gets in the way, as we spoke about before. This is why I didn't fly till I was 30. This is only my second major concert as well. So football blocks everything out.
Right. So why are we going to Limp Bizkit? Is it a Nelly thing or is it a Luke thing?
Oh, it's me, definitely.
It's you. Okay. So you've been a fan of them for a long time.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
It's the first album I ever bought.
What's that?
It's the first album I ever bought, Limp Bizkit.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
So I'm a big fan.
Wow. Okay.
You guys download stuff illegally from the internet like we do?
Not in the... I don't know, I was like 16, 17. I don't think downloading was a thing then.
I mean, I don't know how old you are now, but when I was 16, it was definitely a thing. Like everyone had... It was like such a... Maybe it was just here in this part of the world.
No, I'm a bit older than you, I think, so...
Yeah, maybe, but still, like it was. Remember, even before I was like 15, like when computers got introduced, downloads, like illegal downloads, came right after. Like there was no huge gap between me buying a computer. I mean, my parents getting me a computer and me thinking that it would be a great idea to download some stuff off the internet.
Well, you know my down point is about the internet and about technology.
Oh yeah,
it's not my thing at all. Technology.
No. Luke, I got news for you. I sat for Kiss. I sat for Van Halen. I sat for Pink Floyd. I sat for the Foreigner. I sat for many bands. So if there's seats, you're sitting. If you want to stand, then you go ahead. But the guy behind you may not be too happy that you're blocking the view. Which, by the way, I always sit behind a giant. In all my years, I always sit behind either a giant or somebody with the biggest head of hair. It's the most amazing thing. My wife, she's my witness. I told her that this happens to me. She goes, no, that's not true. And for years, we go to movie theaters and concerts, and somehow the person in front of me is always a giant or somebody with a big head of hair. It's just a miracle. So, but I have stood as well. So if they stand, Luke, and there's a mosh pit, will you enter the mosh pit?
I don't think there'll be a mosh pit.
No, I don't know.
Yes, but let's just say there was.
As you said, Dave, every time you go to a movie or a concert, you always sit behind a giant. Well, Nelly has this problem as well because she's quite small. So the smallest person is a giant for her.
Right. Well, Nelly has a different issue because she's already starting with a disadvantage, right?
Yeah.
But I get that. It's a problem. So will you put her on your shoulders like a good boyfriend/husband type guy? Will you do that?
Of course I will.
You won't?
Of course I will.
Sounds like won't, but you're saying will. Okay. Yes. Alexandra, have you ever been on a man's shoulders during a concert? You were young once and you were carefree and hitchhiking and all that. Never?
Yeah, I have a fear of heights, and so no, I would not do that.
Wow, just on the shoulders, that's heights. Wow.
But here's the thing: like if there's some sort of something fence, some sort of delimiting structure between me and like the void, then I'm able to I don't know, climb tall buildings, all that. But if I'm just like supposed to be sitting on the shoulders of another human being, no, I don't trust that at all.
I have a fear of heights as well, but if I was traveling and I wanted to visit Empire State Building or whatever, my fear wouldn't stop me going to
Oh, no.
place.
Me either. So like I go very rarely, but I did go rock climbing in the past. But as long as there's something like to keep me safe, some sort of structure, some sort of safety, something, I'm fine. It's just another human being that I don't really, I don't really trust
My
like that.
job as well entails me being up in the air. I'm driving a VNA truck, so I'm up in the air all day long.
Wow.
And you're not scared, right?
No.
Yeah, that's
Interesting. I don't have a fear of heights. I have a fear of falling. That's my fear. So I don't care that I'm up there. I just don't want to fall. So, but I don't think about it. What's that?
I think it feeds into one another. Yeah.
Well, it's never stopped me from anything. But I respect falling. I understand that it's damaging and it's sometimes irreversible harm. So when I'm in a situation, I don't say no, I can't do this. It's too high. I just say, okay, I just don't want to fall, and that's it. So just find a way to do it safely and securely. But yeah, if there was an issue, then I would have a fear of heights. But that's the way I sort of interpret all of that. All right, so you got to go ahead.
No, I was gonna say like it's just a healthy respect for falling.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. It's a healthy respect for falling. I do not have any fear of heights. I don't think so. No, I've never experienced that. And I've been high. I mean, I've been high on a mountain. I've been high in an airplane. I've been all sorts of high. So I've never had that fear. But yeah, if you ever come to New York and you go to the Freedom Towers, you're up there. You're way up there. You see a lot. So be prepared if you come to New York City. So Alexandra, what's your next travel situation?
I haven't really decided yet. I'm sort of thinking to maybe do something that I wouldn't normally do by myself. I mean, I want to do something a bit different, but I haven't really decided yet. I don't want to go to yet another, European country, another European town, which is great. I mean, there's obviously a time and place for that as well, and I enjoy that thoroughly whenever, I go. But like right now, I feel the need to do something more. I'm not exotic necessarily, but just different. Let's just say that. Just something a bit more.
Do you have a short list?
To have a short list, I'm kind of just, you know what? I'm just waiting for the universe or whatever you want to call it to kind of point me in the right direction. Because I don't really. That's another thing, I don't really feel a specific pull toward a specific place. There are some places that I really, really want to see, but that I know that maybe now is not the best time to see. Like, I would love to see, for instance, Iran, because they have such a rich, history, such a rich culture. The Persian Empire is what used to be absolutely amazing. I would love to see, all of the, what do you call it? Archaeological sites, all of that. So I would love to do that, but probably not the best time, right? So, that's going to have to wait. But something like along those lines is what I would like.
Wow.
If you go to Iran, a bunch of places, if you visit Iran, Afghanistan, Syria, then you'll be banned to go to America. They'll ban you to go to America.
Really?
You'll have a note on your passport. You'll need to go to an embassy meeting to get a American visa.
Even if you go like with a guided tour, because I would never go as a solo traveler. I would only go through like an agency with like a group, something organized. I would not go by myself in any way, shape, or form. No, I would only do that with some sort of agency with like an organized group. And
interesting.
Yeah.
I've never heard the sentence, "I want to go to Iran." That's the first time I've ever heard anybody say that. So that's interesting. You hemmed and hawed. You didn't want to say anything exotic and all this other stuff. And that was on your short list. I'm like, wow, that's pretty, do you have a respect for danger? I hope you do, right? You have a,
I have a healthy respect for danger.
Right. Okay. A healthy respect for danger. Yeah. That seems pretty dangerous, but I get it. There's things, listen, just because it's politically dangerous or whatever the words are, still it's Earth. It's on the planet. It's a home to many. It's a place, and there are people living there
Yeah.
trying to live life, regardless of the situation. And yeah, that would be, that would be interesting. I'm going to go along with you, Alexandra. I don't want to go with you, but when you come back, I want to hear all about it. And if it becomes safer,
You're
then
right.
sure. I don't
That's
ever see it being a destination in the
the
near
thing.
future, but
Yeah, but these countries, they have such a rich history and such a rich like culture. The empires, that came before them, before what they are now. They have such an interesting and unique. They've created such an interesting and unique culture. So that's more why I would like to go. Like places like Afghanistan, like Iran, like they have this amazing history. But obviously, you can't really um,
yeah,
it's really the best destination for a trip right now.
right.
But yeah,
Do you have
I'd
a
love to go
do you have a
someday.
number? Yeah, it sounds great. Do you have a number two that's slightly more tangible, slightly more obtainable, a little bit less that one that bans you from the United States, right? Anything?
Yeah, yeah. I would actually like to go to Kazakhstan because it's a safe country, and not a lot of people go there. You don't hear about it that much. It's very interesting. I have a friend actually who lives here, but she's originally from there. And she showed me some pictures, really beautiful. And they have they have a very interesting culture because it's like a mix of um, Asia and Russia because they're the people are more Asian looking, but they have Asian features, but then they speak Russian, and I think the majority religion is Islam. So they have this very weird mix of everything. So it's again like it's just a very interesting culture that I'd like to go, and it's a safe country. So yeah, probably
Okay.
that's more.
Do you speak any Russian
No, not at
if
all.
you're going to go? No.
No,
Okay.
no.
Well, if any of our viewers are watching us from Iran, please contact Alexandra. She could use your couch or something. Do you have that app? Is it like rent a couch or share a couch share or something like that, or Airbnb in Iran could be a good situation for you. Maybe somebody in the American consulate or something, if there is such a thing. I don't
I
know.
I don't think there's such a thing. Is there such a thing?
I don't know. Luca, are
No.
we in Iran? Is this show in Iran? We're worldwide except for?
Well, I check analytics, but I haven't seen Iran on there.
Okay, well, let's find that Iran group on Facebook and get membership. I wonder if we're a member of that group, does that ban us from Facebook or any other social media? But yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean,
if we're gonna be worldwide, then we
yes.
have to be worldwide. Yes.
No, I get that. I think that's great. In Kazakhstan, I've heard of it. I don't know anything specifically about it, but I think it's great. Yeah, it's you definitely you gave us two places I would never think of. That's not. I don't know if it's even in my top 100. I think we should probably all as hosts come up with our top tens. As a
Yeah.
homework assignment, our top tens, and maybe even as far as you can go. I don't know if I have 100 destinations I want to go to. I mean, I like to go to Italy 10 times. That doesn't really count, but you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of places you can go 10 times and never see
Yeah.
the same thing twice. So, all
Yeah.
right, Kazakhstan and Iran. That's you're gonna have to schedule that out pretty. I don't know what the weather is like. In Iran, it snows. They got weather like us,
They
like
got
everywhere.
yeah,
Yeah, there's nothing special. They got
no,
mountains and all that.
they have mountains. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They
Yeah,
have some beautiful landscapes. In
yeah.
that area. But I think the weather is that this should be the last of my concerns. Going
Okay.
there.
Well, I don't know. Do they ski? Do you think Iranians like go away for the weekend and they go skiing? Well, do they? No.
I don't know.
Do they
That's
give?
a great.
I don't think
Actually,
so.
it's such a great question. I have no idea. I'm very curious to understand what life is like, just day to day life is like in Iran.
See, and that's one of the things that I miss out on. Years ago, I don't know about on your side of the world, but I mean, it has to be because you were the people we were contacting back in the day when I was a young boy. So I'm 61. So 50 years ago, I'm 11 years old. We had pen pals. There was
Yeah,
an organization that would arrange for pen pals across the country. And I don't know if people do that anymore. Maybe because of the internet, but I don't know. I mean, it'd be quite an experience to write a letter, to actually not email, write a letter, send it across, and it arrives a week or two later and say, hi, how's things in Iran? Tell me about your ski trip. And, that's,
I think people do it, but as you said, in a different way, using the internet.
Yeah.
You can contact people from any country, anywhere in the world, in a second.
That's true.
I've met people from Iran in Germany, actually, but we were not. Obviously, I didn't really. It's not really the same, like if you talk to someone and ask them like how's life and here or there, right? It's a different experience when you go there, regardless of I don't know, regardless of how many people from that country you befriend or whatever, until you go there to see it for yourself and have that experience yourself, it's not the same, I don't.
Yeah, totally. It's never the same. But I bet you somewhere there's a Dave Canyon, there's a Luke, there's an Alexandra in Iran, and they just want to host a podcast. They just want to go see Limp Bizkit. They do. They want to do things, but their country, I guess they can't. And that's, there's another subject for this show called dangerous travel, places you can't go, but you want to go.
But I'll say this: they have an unusually high number of black metal bands coming from Iran, or at least they used to.
That one knew about.
They should have saved that for the trivia segment. How many black metal bands have come from Iran in the last 10 years? 20. 20. And one of them is a Grammy winner. So that's crazy. Black metal coming from Iran? How did that even happen?
I don't know. I don't know if that's a thing anymore, but I remember like when I was in it like some years ago. I remember I used to like do research on the band's original countries,
Right.
Because there used to be this trope that everyone's from like some Norway or somewhere else in Scandinavia, and the black metal, doom metal type music, like you think it has to come from somewhere it's cold and dark, but no. There are some great bands from like Chile, from like Iran, way more than you'd think. I didn't think that I'd find one black metal band from Iran, but there's way more than you'd think. Yeah.
Well, there's a whole show. There's a whole show we're going to do, Luke.
Talking about Iran, there was a Scottish couple who went there and they were arrested for alleged espionage, but I can't remember their name.
Yeah. Well, it happened.
They're in prison now in Iran.
And who is this? Who is this person?
Scottish couple. I need to find their name.
Oh, a couple.
Spanish
couple. Okay. Well,
we'll come back with their name. 1 second.
Are you, Alexandra, while he's looking that up, are you familiar with a man named Henry Rollins from the band called Black Flag back in the day? Black Flag?
No.
Henry Rollins? Yeah. I can't share him on the screen. I wish I should. One of these days we'll learn how to do all this. But I think he was in Iran or one of those countries as he's a musician, but he's also a public speaker. He does like a one-man show. He'll just go up and he'll talk. They call it something else, a one-man play or whatever. And he would go to these countries not being a musician. He would just go with a camera and he would just go. And he was on the Howard Stern show here in the United States. And he interviewed him and he said, "Aren't you nervous that you're going to get put in jail? Aren't you going to get, they're going to take your camera and destroy it?" He goes, "No, I go to these countries all the time. They never bother me." And when he said that, I said, "How is that even possible?" But Henry Rollins is an interesting man. Yeah.
So I have the name. Craig and Lindsay Foreman were detained since January in Iran. So
This January.
So if you're listening, our listeners, do not go to Iran. At least not yet.
Right. And what are their names again?
Craig and Lindsay Foreman.
Craig and Lindsay, if you are watching this show right now, please message Luke and we'll get you on the show. We want to know what happened. So they're detained. They're in prison.
They're in prison.
They should speak to their travel agent. That was a bad booking. But,
yeah, not the hotel they signed up for.
Yeah. I wonder why they decided to go to Iran.
They were
Well,
traveling across a number of countries, I think, and then they got to Iran, and then they were in the wrong country.
Were they traveling by foot?
No,
Oh.
but I don't know how exactly they were traveling.
Oh.
But obviously they're not welcome there, and they were arrested for alleged espionage. So
I think, you know what, like, I'm a very curious person. I want to see all these places. Like, I would go to North Korea if I could, just because I want to see what that's like. You know, I just want to have that. I'm just curious. You know, I just the thought of that I'll die and I've been on this earth and I haven't been anywhere, everywhere, and I haven't seen everything. It's just it bothers me a little. I mean, it's fine if I
Sure.
die. I haven't seen everything, but it'd be really nice if I did see more stuff before I die.
Yeah, but you're picking dangerous locations. And it's like, I mean, I could live without seeing North Korea. I'd like to see, Spain. I like to see Greece, maybe in Romania. But I know you're in Romania. But you're picking North Korea. There's a dictator there, right? The Rocket Man, right?
Yeah.
And you're picking Kazakhstan, which I guess is okay. And then that
Yeah.
other place. I don't know. Yeah, I hear you. It'd be great if we could just travel anywhere. It would be great and not be worried about being detained for espionage. Yeah.
It's
the
for me,
Rocket
it's just
Man.
curiosity. I just want to see what that's like. You know, that's all there is to it. It's not that it's a dangerous place that I picked these places because they're dangerous, but I think like the fact that they're less talked about, I guess, and you don't really have an insight. You don't really have that much media, right, from those areas or any, right?
Yeah.
So
Right.
you don't really have
Yeah.
an insight into what life is like in those parts of the world. So for me, it's like I just want to know what that's about, you know, just because I don't have anywhere else to learn about it. So that's it. So and I'm not chasing the adrenaline or anything like that. That's not my driver.
Got it.
The
Got
Rocket
it.
Man. The Rocket Man. You said, Dave. I didn't know David Bowie was in North Korea.
No, that'd be. Oh yeah, it could be or Elton John. Right?
Oh,
Who's
Elton
rocking?
John.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Elton John. Yeah, yeah. But uh, you know what, Alexandra, just want to let you know. Once this show airs, don't be afraid. I would be afraid of a knock at the door. Maybe a day or two later, somebody knock on your door. Excuse me, ma'am. We just saw a worldwide travel podcast. What is your interest in Iran and North Korea? So anybody with a black suit at your door, I hope you have a little peephole that you can look. Don't answer
I'm
the door.
not looking to cut any deals. I just want to see.
Deals. Wow. Look, we're gonna find out something about Alexandra real soon. There's an MI5 thing happening or something. I don't know. I'm just guessing.
I'm not
But
looking.
I'm with Alexandra on this. If
What's
I
that?
could visit every country in the world, I would.
Yeah, sure.
But
Sure.
I'd leave India till last.
Yeah.
Which one for last?
India.
Okay. Because
This is not a priority for me. But
oh,
if I had one left and it was India, I would go.
okay.
Wait.
Wow. Right,
You
I
would
don't
leave, like you would go to North Korea first before you went to India?
Yeah. India, I'm not. It's not on my top of my list, let's say. I don't want to be sick.
Oh,
But
okay.
if I'd visited every other country in the world, I would go to India just to complete the set.
Okay. So if anybody's listening from India, you just heard Luke took a shot at your country and said your country is last, because he doesn't
sorry.
want to get sick. So it's okay. Just apologize. I don't know if he meant it, but I think he's just trying to save face. But if you were watching the show, contact Luke on the show, in the comments below, say, Luke, you won't get sick. This is what you're going to eat, or this is what you're going to drink. And I might just let you stay on my couch or in my, in my basement with my death metal
Also,
band. Huh?
if you're from India and you're listening, come on, comment down below. Tell me why I'm wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
Totally.
Worldwide Travel Podcast. Yeah, we want to know that. We want to know about all these countries. It'd be great, if we could. I'm curious because I know that if I travel to Jerusalem from Spain, which is part of my plan, it's called the Jerusalem Way. It's a path, but in this path, you can't walk through Syria. You have to fly over Syria and then land. I don't know what the country is before Syria and the
Jordan.
country after. Was that?
I think if you go from Jordan to Israel, I don't think you can do that as well.
Yeah, I'm not really sure, but I know that there's a walk. There's a great walk called the Jerusalem Way. 3 guys have already done it. There's a documentary, and I want to do it, but you can't walk through Syria. You got to fly over it, and then you land, and then you walk to Jerusalem. So, and I can't imagine what's happening in Syria. What does that look like? I'm with you guys. I want to see it all. We should all see it all. There shouldn't be any reason that it should be too dangerous to be in a country.
Yeah, I agree.
It's an interesting study of humanity that somehow we can't behave in a way where we're like, we want everybody. I mean, what espionage? What could this couple possibly get from Iran that's going to cause a problem? What information? Unless they are really MI5 undercover, I don't know. But you know what I'm saying? It's like I always wonder when, like that basketball player from the WNBA. You heard about that from the United States? She was a prisoner for like over a year. Was she a Russian?
She was a Russian. Oh, yeah, I think she was
a prisoner.
Yeah.
But she's not the first one. Whatever it was, and I always wonder, like, what information does anybody want that you want to put them in? I would think you'd get rid of them right away. Just bring them to the border and just keep on like Rambo. I don't know if you ever saw the first Rambo.
Yeah.
It's Sylvester Stallone. The sheriff intercepts Stallone and drives him to the border and says, "See you later." And then Rambo turns around and says, "No, I gotta go back. I gotta get some apple pie." And that's where the trouble starts, So
they're maybe just collecting bargaining chips. Those foreign governments, I think.
I don't know. I just find it hard to believe that, because they always get released and they always end up just being normal, everyday people. Anyway, I just find it fascinating that people get detained by countries. I just think it's an inhumane thing to do, to detain somebody for a year, and then you torture them, you accuse them of things. I mean, it always seems odd to me. I can go on and on. I have no answers for it. It just seems like a really odd thing.
It's just just a way for that foreign government to get something from your government.
I guess so.
Then what can you trade in for this American citizen that we have here in a Russian jail? I think if I were a psychopath dictator, I would probably think that's a good.
Yeah, I think my detainers would eventually come to like me. I think they would say, "Oh, this guy's fun. This guy's a good time," and eventually let me go. So yeah, Dave's a good guy. Forget about it. We were wrong. I think my country that would detain me would be the first country to say, "I think we got this one wrong. Dave's just a great guy, and we had a lot of fun, and we had laughs, and we did a podcast. It was a good time, and we let him go, and that'd be good. I think I can really create world peace. I think so. I just need to get detained. I don't want to be detained, but if I did get detained, I think I could create peace. I think I'm with you, Alexandra. I want to go now. Now I'm really inspired. I do want to go to those countries.
Now you have a goal to get detained so you can then create world peace. That's a heck of a plan.
I think guys would go, "Wow, you can really be this fun. You could just be relaxed and yeah, sure, why not? Look at me. I mean, I got nothing going on, but so I think I'd be a good ambassador for the United States as well. But, whatever, we'll see. I don't know. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. All right, so we got a concert with Limp Bizkit, right? Yeah. Fred Durst, and Alexandra, undercover, possibly. We don't know. Otherwise, free to travel to at least 2 or 3 dangerous countries in the world. And I don't have anything dangerous on the horizon or anywhere I'm going to go that I could think of. No, I'm done. That was my trip. That was my big trip for the year. I should be going back to work any day now. I don't know when I'm going to get a phone call, and I'll just be traveling around the Northeast. But maybe more events like that. I'll go to Indianapolis, where the Indianapolis 500 is. You might have heard of that. That the event I went to last weekend is that company does security for this other event. So it's another long drive, not as long, but a long drive. I might make it. I don't know. We'll see. It's when it's good weather, it's great to be at an outdoor event. I thought I wanted to talk about that. I didn't mention it to you guys. Outdoor events. Your event is indoor, right?
Football?
No, football's outdoor, but you'll play football in the rain. They'll play in the rain. Yeah, they don't care. They don't care one bit. Nothing stops football. But your concert is indoor.
Yeah.
But think about how difficult it is for people who promote outdoor events. To me, that's one of the craziest things in the world. Where, like this event I went to, Saturday was rained out. So, but they got their money. People, they didn't refund Saturday's tickets that I know of. But but there's a lot of events that get canceled. When you're a spectator and you travel 1,000 miles to an event and you have children with you or something like that, these rainouts are just horrible. The alternative, is hard sometimes to afford because you're already like on the edge of this particular event. And I just saw a lot of families on Saturday scrambling because it was raining. Now, where are we going to go? This is what we're here for. And we have children. And if we leave the event and it dries up and they reschedule the event, we're already gone. It's, what I'm saying? It's like there's no place to go except out and spend money on food, which, by the way, this event's food was so expensive. A regular size beer was $18, 18 American dollars.
What?
And
Wow.
it was crazy. Pizza was crazy. I didn't buy any food at this event. I never do. But the prices have totally gone up. Very expensive. Luke, are you going to, I don't know what you call it in your country, are you going to get lit before you enter the arena? Will you be participating in alcoholic beverages before?
Not to an extreme level. Maybe
No?
1 or 2 beers. Yeah, but not going crazy.
Outside the event or
Yeah.
inside the event? Outside.
Outside, definitely outside.
And you'll be at a pub?
The beer at the event will probably be double the price of a normal
Yeah.
pub.
Okay. Alexandra, is that something that you are concerned about when you go to an event? The price of the extras?
I'm not concerned because I don't buy the extras because I already know that the prices are gonna be jacked up, so I don't even consider it.
Okay, yeah.
No, I don't do that. No, I'm not. I mean, I don't know. You know what? I am cheap and I'm proud. I don't know.
Nothing wrong with that. What was that,
Dave,
Luke?
When people go to spectate NFL in America, NFL is a long event, so you have no choice but to buy some kind of food or drink.
I do
no
intermittent
choice.
fasting. I cannot eat for very long.
Right. I think we all three are somewhat cheap or frugal. Is that the word? Frugal, maybe is a better word. But we know what it costs, and I don't not go to events because of the price of food and all that stuff. I don't go to events because of the inconvenience and the cost of the event itself. But I never think about eating when I get there. I could care less. I eat in the car on the way. By the time I get out of the car or the train, I'm like, oh my God, I ate so much. and then I can sit there and digest my food for either 9 innings of baseball, 4 quarters of football, 2 halves of your football, which, I don't go to in America, or 500 laps of NASCAR or whatever it is. I'm digesting my food. I just want to bring in water bottles. I like having water. That's it. I'm just there to survive. But what's interesting is I saw a lot of consummation. That's not the word. What's the word I'm looking for? There was a lot of consuming of beer. There was people drinking beer a lot. And these when you go what they call the midway, and where the food is, the pizza, the Zeppola, and the beer, and the soda, and the cotton candy, you see the prices. I don't know how anybody can afford that. I really don't know. And if you like beer, you gotta like beer that much to spend $18 for 1 can. When you know $18 is basically a case if you go to the store. So it's really, I never ever think about eating at these events. But these people, they're chomping down and they're spending money. And then they complain about the American economy, which I can't imagine how they do that. You can't complain. The economy's doing great. They must be doing great. Somebody's doing great. Or
you get $18 on some beer. Yeah, sure. I mean, the economy is doing great. If you can do that, I don't know.
yeah, it's crazy.
So, me and Nelly was at a concert 2 years ago. We went to see Coldplay at Wembley Stadium, and in the concourse before the concert started, there was a stand of pick a mix. So let's get some sweets. We filled our bag like not even a quarter full. Put on the scale, £16.
Oh.
No, we're not. No, we're not buying that. That's going back.
Wow.
£16 for a few sweets.
Wow.
Ridiculous.
That's crazy. The only thing I did spend money on when I was younger, much, much younger, and I would go to all these concerts, I would always have money, extra money for T-shirts. I always got the concert T-shirt. I have a collection of classic rock and roll T-shirts, Journey, Van Halen, and bands like that. I can't fit any of them anymore. My son wore them to school when he was growing up. He liked my shirts, and he kept them clean, which is great because I still have them. So 2 generations of Canyons have worn classic rock and roll T-shirts. But back in the day, they were like $10, $8, whatever it was. Now a T-shirt's like $35, whatever it is. It's just so much money for a shirt. So yeah, it's all expensive. That's another cost of travel is the extras. And looks like the 3 of us are pretty cheap or frugal. Frugal.
Nelly has an unbelievable concert story when she lived in Brazil, but I'll leave that for her to tell because it's an unbelievable story.
Okay.
So that's a little spoiler there.
Well, we've been doing this for about an hour. I think we've pretty much covered it. We've covered travel, we've covered danger, we've covered expenses, concerts, and gluttonous American behavior. We've covered bus travel, auto travel. We've really done a good job of worldwide travel to the best of our ability without a guest, just the 3 of us. And we appreciate everybody listening. Luke, you're in charge of the social media. I'm going to put you on the spot. Where can people, other than commenting in the YouTube below, clicking like and subscribing and sharing, where can they get us?
So we have a Facebook group, Worldwide Travel Podcast. We're on TikTok, the same name, Instagram, the same name, and Twitter is W-Wide Travel Pod.
W-Wide Travel Pod. I didn't know worldwide was one word, by the way. I had an issue with that. I said, I thought that was 2 words, worldwide. But it's not. It's 1 word. Worldwide is 1 word. So Worldwide Travel Podcast, and you'll put all that in the show notes down below. And if anybody, Alexandra, you have anything to say before we go?
Just happy that we've managed to cover our dark segment because we've made a tradition out of, discussing something dark at least once per episode. So we've had the, what was it? Illness and death.
Dark metal. Yeah.
So this time I'm happy that we were able to continue the tradition and also bring up danger and how to, be detained in a foreign country. So yeah.
And if you're a dark metal band looking for publicity in Iran, we'd love to have you on the show. We're not sure what risks. Luke will clear it with the Milton Keynes consulate, and we'll see if it's legal. I don't know what we're allowed to do, but I'm curious what Iranian black metal sounds like. That would be pretty fascinating.
Yeah,
Luke. Right.
If you're a rock musician in Iran, please reach out to me.
Sure. Yeah. Or if you're like, into folk music from really almost any music from Iran, I'm really curious what you got going on. What's the club circuit like in Iran? Are you going on tour? What's happening? What clubs do they play? Do you make any money? I'm just curious about all of that. All right. Luke, anything else?
Just just to our listeners, a quick message. If you're listening to this point, please give us a like and subscribe. We are trying to grow. We're new to this. We're just working hard, trying to grow. Just do us a solid.
Great. Click like, subscribe, share, engage with the show. I do it all the time. It's easy just to click like and say, "Hey guys, good show," or whatever. Hey, whatever. It's really easy to do, but people find it very hard to actually write something with their fingers like this. Hey, But I do it all the time. I'm always saying a personal something other than clicking like. But if clicking like is all you can handle, we don't want to push the envelope. We don't want to push the issue. We know you're exhausted. Clicking like is hard, I know, and sharing is difficult. But we do appreciate you sticking around for the Worldwide Travel Podcast. And that's it. We thank you for watching. My name is Dave Canyon. By the way, my podcast is Dumbing It Down with Dave. You can get it on podcast platforms all over the world, maybe even Iran and Syria. I don't know. I haven't heard from anybody from those countries yet. I hope that people listen to me in those countries. And Dave's Fit Life is my YouTube channel. All right, that's it. That's the show. Great guy. Great guy's job. Great job, guys. It was a pleasure seeing you all from all over the world. Alexandra in Romania, Luke in Milton Keynes. Keynes or Keynes?
Keynes.
Keynes. I keep on mispronouncing that. By the way, Luke, you showed up in my analytics your town showed up in my analytics on Spreaker. I was able to click in and, oh, look at that. Now I know when Luke listens because I know where he lives. Anyway, and that's it. I'm Dave Canyon. Thank you for watching and listening. We greatly appreciate it. Have a good day. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.